Because power does not announce itself as kindness. Power announces itself as danger, under control. Here is the paradox they never taught you. The more you try to look safe, the more unsafe you become. The more you try to be liked, the less you are respected. And the most dangerous people in history were never loud, cruel, or chaotic. They were calm, they were unreadable. They carried an aura that made others hesitate before crossing them. Tonight, you are going to learn how to build that aura. Not with violence, not with threats, but with something far more unsettling: control. And before we go further, understand this. If you misuse what you are about to hear, it will isolate you. If you half understand it, it will backfire. But if you master it, people will feel you before you speak. And there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Machiavelli understood something most people still refuse to accept. Human beings do not respond to morality the way they claim. They respond to perceived consequence. In The Prince, he never argues that a ruler must be cruel. He argues that a ruler must never appear weak. Weakness invites attack. Not because people are evil, but because people are opportunistic. When they sense softness without boundaries, they test it. You see this everywhere: at work, in families, in friendships, in relationships. The person who over-explains becomes the person who is doubted. The person who laughs too easily becomes the person who is ignored. The person who forgives too quickly becomes the person who is repeated against. A dangerous aura begins when you stop advertising your intentions. Danger is not rage. Danger is uncertainty. When people cannot predict you, they become cautious. When they cannot read your emotional reactions, they slow down. When they do not know how far you will go, they choose safer behavior. This is why Machiavelli advised princes to be foxes as well as lions. The lion has strength, but the fox has awareness. And awareness creates psychological pressure without force. Your first step is silence. Not the silence of fear, the silence of restraint. Most people talk too much because they are afraid of emptiness. They rush to fill the space with words, jokes, explanations, defenses. But silence shifts power. Silence forces others to reveal themselves. When you pause instead of responding immediately, something subtle happens. The other person begins to wonder what you are thinking. They replay their own words. They self-correct. And here is the deeper layer. Silence communicates that you do not need validation in real time. Machiavelli knew this. The prince who speaks less allows rumors to form, but rumors are useful. They magnify perception. You do not correct every misunderstanding. You do not clarify every accusation. You let uncertainty do the work for you. But there is a more dangerous truth beneath this. A dangerous aura is built not by what you do, but by what you refuse to do. You refuse to chase approval. You refuse to overreact. You refuse to beg for harmony at the cost of leverage. Most people are emotionally available on demand. That makes them predictable. Predictability is safety, and safety is forgettable. Stoic philosophy aligns perfectly here. The Stoics believed the most powerful man is the one who cannot be disturbed, not because he is numb, but because he governs his reactions like a sovereign governs a city. If anyone can provoke you, anyone can control you. A dangerous aura forms when your emotions stop leaking information, when insult does not produce a visible wound, when praise does not inflate your posture, when conflict does not rush your breathing. People begin to feel something they cannot name. A pressure, a hesitation. They don't know why, but they choose their words more carefully around you. And here is the part no one warns you about. This will make insecure people uncomfortable. They will call you cold, arrogant, distant. That is the tax of authority. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. But fear does not mean terror. It means respect for consequence. Fear is knowing that crossing you carries weight. And that brings us to boundaries. A dangerous aura without boundaries is just mystique. A dangerous aura with boundaries is power. Most people announce their boundaries verbally. They explain them, negotiate them, apologize for them. That is weakness disguised as politeness. True boundaries are enforced once, calmly, decisively. You do not threaten, you do not argue, you act, and once action is taken, you return to calm. That contrast is terrifying to the human nervous system. Anger is expected, yelling is familiar, but cold enforcement followed by composure, that leaves an imprint. People remember how you made them feel. And nothing is more memorable than realizing you underestimated someone. But there is an even deeper truth we haven't touched yet. Dangerous people are not reactive. They are selective. They choose where to invest energy, who to correct, who to ignore. Ignoring is one of the most underused forms of dominance. When you ignore someone's provocation, you send a message without words. You are not worth my response. This is not avoidance. This is hierarchy. Machiavelli understood this well. A prince does not respond to every complaint. If he did, he would look desperate to be understood. Power speaks once. Weakness explains itself repeatedly. You build a dangerous aura by becoming harder to access emotionally. Not unavailable. Selective. Your attention becomes currency, and people behave better around what they value. But be careful. This is where many fail. They confuse distance with superiority. They become performatively cold. They withdraw without substance. That creates emptiness, not danger. True danger comes from capability under restraint. You must be competent. You must be observant. You must be able to act decisively if required. A harmless man pretending to be dangerous is transparent. A capable man choosing not to act is unsettling. This is why calm fighters are scarier than loud ones. This is why quiet leaders command rooms. Their stillness is not emptiness. It is containment. And here is the most important psychological shift. You must stop needing to be seen as good. Goodness that demands recognition is manipulation. True virtue does not announce itself. Machiavelli warned against appearing virtuous without being effective, because effectiveness is what protects virtue in the real world. You can be ethical and still be feared. You can be kind and still be dangerous. But kindness without teeth invites exploitation. A dangerous aura is built when people know you are fair, but not forgiving without learning. You listen, but you do not forget. You tolerate mistakes, but never patterns. That reputation spreads quietly. And now, the deeper, more dangerous truth. Your internal self. Image matters more than your external behavior. If you see yourself as someone who must be accepted, your body language leaks it. If you see yourself as someone who must prove worth, your voice reveals it. Danger begins when you internalize this belief. I am enough without permission. From that belief comes posture, stillness, eye contact that does not seek approval. You stop scanning faces for reassurance. You stop adjusting yourself to be palatable. And people feel that shift instantly, because humans are experts at detecting self-perception. The man who believes he can walk away is never chased. The man who fears loss is always tested. Machiavelli would say, this is fortune and virtue interacting. Control what you can. Let perception work where force is unnecessary. A dangerous aura does not dominate conversations. It anchors them. Others speak faster. Fill the space. Reveal too much. You listen. Listening is not passive. It is strategic. The more people talk, the more leverage they hand you. And leverage is silent power. But let's go deeper still. There is one habit that will destroy your aura faster than anything else. Emotional transparency without filters. Sharing everything feels honest. It feels modern. It feels authentic. It is also reckless. Machiavelli warned that revealing your internal state arms your enemies. Not everyone deserves access to your fears, doubts, or ambitions. Information is not intimacy. A dangerous aura is built on controlled revelation. You share selectively. You reveal strength before vulnerability. You allow trust to earn depth. This does not make you fake. It makes you sovereign, and sovereignty is the root of authority. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people misunderstand Machiavelli. He did not advocate cruelty. He advocated preparedness. The world is not gentle to those who refuse to see it clearly. A dangerous aura is not about hurting others. It is about ensuring others think twice before hurting you. That alone changes social dynamics completely. People negotiate differently. They apologize faster. They hesitate longer. And none of this requires aggression. It requires discipline. Discipline of speech. Discipline of reaction. Discipline of self-image. And here is the final, most unsettling truth. Once you build this aura, you will see people differently. You will notice how much of society runs on emotional leakage, on insecurity disguised as friendliness, on fear disguised as morality. You will feel alone at times. That is the price of clarity. But you will also feel free, free from the need to perform, free from the need to convince, free from the need to be liked by those who would never protect you. A dangerous aura is not loud. It does not announce itself. It enters the room before you do. And now, loop back to the beginning. You were taught to be harmless, to be open, to be safe. But the world does not reward harmlessness. It exploits it. The moment you stop trying to look good, the moment you stop explaining yourself, the moment you learn to carry danger with restraint, everything changes. Because power does not come from aggression. It comes from the quiet certainty that you are not to be tested. And that is why people feel you before you speak.